If you wanted something badly enough, you'd already have it. This is something that I think we all need to be reminded of, no matter how old you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what you have going in your life. This is one of those like hard truths and like reality checks that I think we all need to have every once in a while, where it's like if you wanted something badly enough, you would literally already have it. For example, a lot of us say things like, yeah, I want to get healthier physically, I want to go to the gym more. But then when you look back for the past 3 months, 4 months, it's like, well, were you really going to the gym much at all? Did you actually stick to it? And for most people, just for the sake of the example, they'd probably say no. And I think the reason for this is because a lot of us, just as human beings, what we do is we pretend that we want something when deep down we either don't even want it in the first place, or we only want a certain result of having that thing, a certain feeling or a certain impression we'd give off if we did that thing. For example, with the gym, a lot of people probably want the feeling of validation from others when they have a good physique or when they just look more fit or muscular or whatever it might be. A lot of us deep down, we just chase that feeling instead of the actual thing of going to the gym. And it's one of those things where like the only real way to improve on this and fix this is to become very aware and conscious of it. For example, it's so common in business too, or like with money. A lot of people say, pretty much everyone nowadays says they want to be rich and says they want to make a lot of money. But then literally right after saying that to their friends or something, what they'll do is they'll go outside and drop $30 on fast food and coffee and spend the rest of their night watching Netflix. And so it's like we have this this whole, I guess you can call it like a phenomenon where just people say they want something, but then their actions say something else. And I'm guilty of this too. You know, no one's absolutely perfect with this, but I think something really important to think about is figuring out the things that you actually genuinely want in your life and the things you say you want, but you could do fine without that. It's something that a lot of us, I think, should look into, even myself, is just kind of sit down for a day and be like, okay, I have all these different things on my bucket list. I have all these things I want to accomplish. But it's like, how many of these would I genuinely go to the end of the world for? And you're going to quickly realize that most of them on that list are not things you'd go to the end of the world for. In other words, they're not things that you would spend years of your life sacrificing other things to get that thing accomplished. And if you look at the most successful people in this world, you know, they're seen as weird by a lot of people. Like if you sat down with, let's say, Steve Jobs or Michael Jordan or Michael Phelps or Tiger Woods or like any of these really successful athletes or entrepreneurs, if you sat down with them and tried to have like a normal conversation with them, more often than not, they're probably going to seem very weird to you. They're going to feel and seem very unusual to you. And that's because the routines that these people have and the nature these people have is unusual. It's abnormal. They are just so insanely determined on, and it's usually just one thing. It's not like two or three things that they're focused on. It's just one thing. And we live in a time now where there are infinite options for everything. Like there are genuinely infinite things you could do, especially with something like business, for example. Like in 2026, you can start a business out of damn near anything, and you can make money from it. You can make a living selling, handmade gifts and little like collectibles on Etsy. You could make $10,000 a month from doing that on Etsy. Like the most niche things you could possibly ever think of. You can make money with anything. And, something I've been learning recently that's really one of the most important things I think anyone can ever learn is that if you're trying to become a master at something, it's not about adding more, technique or getting more books on the topic or watching more YouTube videos on it. What you have to do is you have to start removing everything else that's not related to your goal. If you want to make a certain amount of money, if you want to start a business, if you want to become very physically fit and have an insanely good diet, if you want to be an influencer, if you want to be an athlete, if you want to become an actor, if you want to do any of these things, naturally, those things I just listed, you can't be some average person and accomplish that. You have to be above average in a lot of ways. And that brings me back to the question, like, how badly do you actually want it? And hopefully this video can kind of act as like a little subtle reminder for you to think about the things in your life right now that are in place and try to figure out what's a distraction disguised as an idea or a passion. And then think about the things that are actually going to get you somewhere that you maybe really want to do, but it might be hard in the moment. And like I just said before, like this is something that I've been thinking about a lot. Like how the only real way to get somewhere with anything is to pick one thing. Honestly, not even two. Some people say two things. Pick one thing that you really, really just want to go all in on. And it's simple math when you think about it. You only have so much focus. You only have so much time. You only have so much resources to put towards something. Like we're only human, right? So like you can't, so many people, and I'm guilty of this from the past, but like you'll pick 4 different things you're interested in. Even in business, like a lot of people say like, yeah, man, I want to get into trading. I want to do stocks and crypto. And then I want to also have my own clothing brand. And then I also want to do God knows what. Like I want to do 3 other things. And it's like, you're just going to be putting in a very weak and small amount of energy and effort into all those things because that's all you can do. If let's say your focus and your energy is like a battery on your phone, and every single morning you wake up and it's at 100% battery. And let's say now you want to work on 10 different things in one day, or even just in your whole lifetime, 10 different things. Well, the only possible way you can put any energy towards any of those things, just mathematically speaking, is you would have to divide, your energy onto all those 10 things. And so you're only going to be able to put 10% energy into all of those 10 things. There's no other way. And same thing with like if you had 5 different things, you would only be able to put 20% of your energy or your battery into each thing. And as you can see, based on that pattern and that trend, the less things that you focus on, naturally, the more you can focus. And something really important I want to talk about in this video as well is that it's not just in the context of like your passion or what you want to do as a career. It's not just that. This kind of situation can also be applied to just you going about your day, just living and just trying to preserve your energy. Because put like passion and career aside, there are so many things in the modern world that are designed to drain your energy and to distract you. Most of them, frankly, are digital. They're on a screen. What's crazy is that nowadays we're so reliant on the internet and screens that if we just turn them off for a couple hours, we get bored instantly. Because like we're so used to not doing things off of a screen, at least for the average American. But I think this is something that we should all really remind ourselves of. That the more you focus on, the less you can focus. You know, if you look on YouTube or you just Google random things like how to be more productive or how to save time, all you're going to see is bullshit like, yeah, install this timer app and eat this food that gives you energy and drink more caffeine and have a stopwatch on your desk and have 4 different monitors. It's like, no. Anyone who tells you that is either trying to sell you something or they just like lying to people. Look at any actual, legitimate, successful person, an entrepreneur, and they will tell you that no, it's about removing things. It's about thinning out all the noise and all the garbage in your life that, like I mentioned before, it might seem like it's useful, but it's not. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for this video, to be honest. I just thought I'd get on here and share this because, you know, I think this can act as a really good reminder for a lot of you guys out there, as it was for me, to understand that the only way to get anywhere with anything is if you want it badly enough and if you're willing to make sacrifices for it. You know, I talked to some of my friends and, you know, some of them have told me they want to get into entrepreneurship and business and maybe they don't know anything about it. I'm like, cool, bro, that's awesome. I'll tell them something simple like, yeah, if you're going to get into business, I'd recommend like deleting a lot of your social media apps if you're not going to use them, because they are probably the biggest distraction that, you know, scientifically speaking, being on those kind of apps is going to make you less interested in busy, boring work, which is what's required for entrepreneurship. And I'll tell them something simple like that, and they're like, bro, don't tell me what to do. Or like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to keep Instagram. I want to keep TikTok. I want to keep Snapchat. And I'll just be like, okay, you can do whatever you want, bro. Cool. And my point is that in the slightest sense of, you know, responsibility, whenever there's one sign of accountability that comes in front of you, like the first little obstacle, so to speak, most people just fold and they can't do it. You tell someone, can you at least try to like cut down the sugar? Like it's only going to help you. It's only going to help you. And they're like, no, I don't know. No, I don't want to. No. And if you can't take the first step, you're just never going to make it at anything. But yeah, I just hope this video, you know, reminded you in a positive, good way that you're never going to get anywhere unless you start cutting out all the noise and narrowing your focus. It's like literal tunnel vision. Like that's the only way to get anything done. Look at any hyper successful person, even just a little bit successful. You can't just switch things around every 2 months. I spent like 2-3 years of my life doing this. Like I worked so many different jobs. I tried so many different things. And yes, I learned a lot from it, but I was never able to reach those like, you know, exceptionally good measures and heights in one field because I kept switching things. So if you're watching this and you're like between the ages of like 18 and 25, 26, I think this is something that you want to remember, especially if you want to be somebody, which is, you know, something I think is worth a shot in the world we live in, because most people are just numb to everything. But yeah, that's all I have for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.